Hello, everyone, and welcome to our monthly product webinar. I'm Ro from the onboarding team, and I'm excited to be here with you today, along with my colleague, Kara, from our product team. Today, we're diving into two powerful ways to customize the look and feel of your next-gen Knack apps, themes, and custom CSS. Whether you're looking to match your brand guidelines or create a more polished user experience, we've got you covered. So let's take a look at what we'll be covering today. We have a couple main sections. First, Kara is going to walk us through Knack's new theming capabilities. This is our built-in solution that requires no coding knowledge whatsoever. You'll see how easy it is to customize colors, fonts, and layouts right from the interface. Then I'll be jumping in to show you custom CSS for those of you who want even more control over your app's appearance. I'll show you where to find your CSS settings, documentation, how to identify the classes you need, and a few basic examples. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a live Q&A session where both Kara and I will be here to answer your questions about what was presented today or anything else related to customizing your Knack apps. Before we dive in, I do want to mention that this webinar is being recorded, so you'll receive a link to watch it later. Also, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat throughout the presentation. We'll address them during our Q&A session. Now, let me introduce Kara. She's been instrumental in developing our new theming system and is going to show you just how powerful and easy to use it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Knack's theming capabilities. My name is Kara. I'm here with Ro today, and we're super excited to guide you through the tools that Knack provides to customize the look and feel of your next-gen apps. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore how you can change your app's visual identity using Knack's intelligent theming system for everything from colors and layouts to custom fonts, so you can create a professional on-brand experience for your users in no time. It's more than just about making your apps look good. It's about creating a cohesive, intuitive, and engaging user experience. A well-themed reinforces your brand, and it can also help increase usability and user adoption of your app. So let's dive in and unlock the full potential of your Knack apps with themes. First of all, when you're in the Next Gen Builder, you're going to see this new themes button or icon, and that's where you're going to click to hop right in. So out of the box, we generate a default Knack theme for every next gen Knack app. One thing we don't do, at least at the moment, is carry over any sort of customizations that you might have had in Classic, such as colors and kind of that look and feel that you used to find in the settings area. So we're giving you a clean slate to start from scratch in next gen. So you can't edit it, you can't delete it. We always want some sort of color to be there. And we also automatically create your first custom theme. And we do this just to make it easier for you to get up and running and editing. So before I click on that, I just want to mention that you can create new themes. You can create as many new themes as you want. So you can create them from scratch. You can import a theme that you've already exported. And to do that, you'll go to an existing theme and simply export it. It comes in a JSON file, and you can re-upload it to any other app or the same app if you want. You can rename it, you can duplicate it. Again, just like it's your playground. So we're going to click in. This is my active theme. And so just kind of an overview is we've got a styles tab, and this is where you control all of your color customizations and typography and some designs, and just kind of get a look and feel of what this is going to look like if you save your changes. And then we've got the layout tab where you're going to manage the more structural elements of your app. And this includes things like navigation, positioning, page width, your app's title and logo, a couple different things. So you can see everything as you're working with this quick view button, even without saving. So at any time when you're changing your themes, go ahead and click on quick themes. I'm just going to pick a page from my drop down, and you'll be able to see like in real time, this is what your users will experience. So of course, you can always do that by going to the live app too, but it's just super easy. You don't even have to save your changes. Just click on Quick View and see what you're doing. So let's talk about our color themes, and I will go back to styles. So first of all, probably the main difference you're going to notice between Classic and Next Gen is that we have built-in support for both light mode and dark modes, and you can design for both, and you can even allow your you can even allow your users to select which preferred viewing experience they want. So default out of the box is system, with this allow your users to toggle between dark mode and light mode system mode. We also have options for light mode only, and then you'll see that toggle goes away, and we have an option for dark mode only. And again, I'm going to leave it at system. And if you're at system mode, you've got these nice new controls for dark mode and light mode, so that at any time, quick view, you can really easily see how your app is going to look. If you can read the text, if you can, if your buttons are accessible, and the correct color for light mode and dark mode. So we've got that. And going through the colors, we have some preset out of the box color selections for the primary color. So clicking this primary color, we've got these default colors. The primary color is going to be used for elements like buttons, important links. The secondary color right here is, like it says, the active page and the navigation. Filter tabs, we have the main navigation background, and we calculate all of these colors automatically for you. So if I just pick, let's say fuchsia, you can see that these automatically update, and I can go to the buttons and see the different colors, what they look like, see what the navigation and selected and not selected buttons and tabs look like, as well as action links, and some card appearance and table design, which we'll get into in a few minutes. So you have those selections, and even if I switch over to dark mode, we should see that they all work well together in dark mode with these, primary colors. But that doesn't cut it for your custom branding. And so what we have also designed is like these magic themes or intelligent theme calculations. So if you want to choose your own custom color, you can choose any color that you can dream up of. So I'll just change this one slightly so we can see how that looks. And I'll go back to light mode. And now I can see this is my primary color for buttons and links and accents. And then I've got this secondary color that was automatically generated based off of my primary color. So all of these colors are automatically generated based on what you select for the primary color. And because I have this option to allow the users to choose between dark mode and light modes, I have the option to set different primary colors for both dark mode and light. So I'm just going to change this one slightly so we can see a difference. And then I can go into dark mode, I can go into light mode, I can go into quick view and see how these things look. Open that up again. And I can switch between the dark and the light modes with this little sun icon here to make sure that, like in dark mode, are my buttons still visible? And I'm just going to go back to system default and then stop quick view. So I haven't even saved anything right now. And I have a couple of different options for seeing what this experience looks like for my users. I also have the option of using a different secondary color if I want. I don't have to. I can just use what we came up with by default. But pretend I don't want that and I want to use different secondary color. Dark mode was a little bit dark, so let's just make that a little bit brighter. Let's make it a little bit more distinctive here. We even have different options on all of these. We have the RGB. You can click here, get the HSL or the hex. So even with how you select your colors, you have several different options. And so the navigation background color, again, let's go to quick view and check it out. Okay, so I can have a custom background color. It was a little bit much, so let's put it back. So if I don't want to have a different background color, of course I can toggle that off. But if I do want to have a different background color, maybe for the dark one, I want it slightly this dark purple, I can totally do that. And that's going to be for your navigation. So we can go into quick view and take a look here. So this is a little light color, and we'll check it out in dark mode as well. Okay, and if you're satisfied with the colors, we can stop the quick view. Again, another option you have is that light mode and dark mode. But for that main nav bar, I think it's a good practice to use that quick view. So, for sure, you can click on menus and ensure that the visibility is what you want. We also have introduced the ability to use a different page background. So again, if you default these to just like a white and almost black, if you want to use a different background color for light mode and or dark mode, you can. You can use one color. You can even make it a custom gradient. So like it's starting with white, let's make it just like slightly a little bit different, and I'm gonna change the gradient to 135. So you can see that it is, I should have that open by default. See that's light over here on the left side and a little bit darker color in the background over here on the left. So let's stop that, and then we can do the same with dark mode. We can use one color or multiple colors. And if we wanted to reset that here, we could do that. We could also use one of these like pre-selected background colors that we offer as well. So let's see how that looks in dark mode. That's quite a bit of purple. So we'll pretend that these are my brand colors, and I will keep going on. But just the main point is we do our best to calculate the colors that are going to look good with whatever primary and secondary colors you choose in both dark mode and in light mode. And if you keep your eye out on the release notes, we're going to have an accessibility report, as well as a different way to preview like all of the different elements. So what does this color combination look like in calendar view? What does this look like if you have a maps element? That's coming up soon. So kind of scrolling back down, we have got fonts, and you can choose, one of the default fonts, or you can upload your own custom font. So pretty much, let's share my screen here. Any like font that has a web address that points, at a CSS file that you can get to, you can use. In this examples, I'm just going to fonts.google.com. Doesn't have to be Google at all. It can be, again, anything that you can access. So there's some good documentation and examples there on how to upload custom font. So that really, especially for really brand conscious apps, you can use your custom branding, and you don't have to upload, custom CSS to do that. Clicking down here, we've got action links and labels coming soon. You can preview what they look like out of the box here. And for appearance, this is the card appearance. And we can see that by clicking on this example. By default, the corners are going to be rounded with shadows. So here it is looking with the sharp corners and no shadows. So however you want to customize your card appearance, you can do that there. And then for table design, we've got this open here. And I've got mine set at contact because I was looking at pivot tables, and that's a lot of data. So I wanted the rows to be smaller, the live app. We can choose to have default or comfortable. And of course, alternating the background colors or hovering on the row. So I'm just going to leave it at comfortable, and we'll take a look at quick view and see what that looks like for this kind of data heavy pivot tables. So we can go back, go to quick view, expand and collapse, and you can see that you can really notice the difference when all of these rows are expanded. So I will keep it like that, and we will move on to layouts. So the first thing you'll probably notice in the layout navigation is that we have this vertical navigation. And so however it works for your apps, choose between vertical and horizontal. And up to you, you don't have to use custom code to do this anymore. Show pages in the navigation menu. If we have that off, then we're not going to show the pages. So maybe it's like a custom portal or something like that, where you only want, if you send a link to a page to somebody to show, but not any other pages, maybe that's where you would want that option off. Sticky navigation is referring to that nav bar, that nav menu, being sticky or not. if we want to have a slight border around that navigation or a shadow. So let's just see what this looks like with these other options in the vertical view. So that kind of makes it pop out a little bit more. For the page width, by default, played around with this and reset a default. So we have full, it'll stretch the entire screen. But me personally, I like to do the max width, and you can set it in pixels or percentages. So let's open up a page here. I'm just going to hit save and make active. And we've got that default 80%. So I've got my vertical nav bar here. And yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I have a couple, columns I can't see fully. So I can go back and just kind of play around with the percentage. So let's try 90%. Or you can do pixels too. Like, all depends on your use case. And let's refresh. That's good. So it's really like, I've still got an edge here, but now I can see all of my columns in the pivot table. I might even set a max page height too, so I don't have the double scroll. But for like whatever use case, maybe you have a lot more of this gap, between the sides of the elements on the page. You can totally do that with either pixels or percentages. That's for more the horizontal view when you are setting the different max widths. So here we've got the title and logo if you want to show the app title or not. You can use a custom title if you want. And we have the option to upload a logo with that nice slider that you have been used to from using it in Classic if you're using Classic. So we've got more changes and exciting things coming around, especially the title logo area. And I guess closing just with some best practices. Use the quick view. It's your friend. If you find like something's not changing as you might think, just go ahead and hit save. But I think everything should work in quick view without saving first. Test your themes across dark mode and light mode. And then use the different options here just to make sure that things are looking okay in like a tablet view or a mobile view. So we've, tried to be as responsive as possible, but, these like data heavy pivot tables might not be the best experience in mobile, but hopefully you can design your pages so that, they are usable and functional. I think my last piece of advice or two is keep accessibility in mind. Ensure there's enough contrast between your text and your background colors to make your app readable for everyone. Again, we're going to come out with some out-of-the-box accessibility checkers soon. And then, your theme, just like strike a balance for your custom branding and usability. Your theme should always enhance the user experience and make it better, not get in the way with it. We shouldn't have to be struggling to see a button in dark mode or anything like that. So I think that is all for me. Thank you so much, and excited to see what you make with themes.
Thanks, Kara. Super exciting updates. Now I want to shift gears and talk about custom CSS. While themes are incredible for most customization needs, some of you might want even more granular control over your app's appearance. Custom CSS allows you to transform your Knack app's appearance beyond what the built-in themes offer. You get more control over colors, spacing, typography, and layout to create a truly branded experience that matches your organization's visual identity. So why would you use custom CSS? Well, there are several key benefits. First, you can match your app's appearance exactly to your brand guidelines with custom colors, fonts, and styling that might not be available in the theme options. Second, you can create more intuitive interfaces with better spacing, visual hierarchy, and interactive elements, really fine-tuning that user experience. And third, you can adjust layouts, fix spacing issues, enhance buttons, and style cards to improve functionality in ways that themes alone may not address. Now, I want to be upfront about something important. Custom CSS does require some technical knowledge. Unlike themes, which Kara just showed, you can use without any coding experience. CSS will require you to write code. But here's the thing, with AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and others, you don't need to be a developer to get started. I actually used AI to help create some of the CSS I use in my apps today. So where exactly can you add CSS to your application? Let me show you exactly where this lives in your Knack app. In the builder, you'll find the CSS option in your app settings. So here's a quick picture on where you're going to find that, but let's actually take a look at where this is at in the builder. We're going to navigate to our app settings, and you'll see there's an API and code area here as well. And this is where you're going to find your link or that section on CSS. This is where you can add all of your custom styling and code. So take note of a couple things that we're seeing here. We've got links to our developer docs here. So if I click that link here, it's going to take us to our knowledge base where you can find resources and documentation. You'll also notice that we have this toggle, which allows you to enable or disable custom CSS, which is really great if you are troubleshooting any issues with the code. And then you'll also see this option to go either light mode or dark mode, whichever is easiest on your eyes. Before I show you some examples, let me point to you some great resources for getting started with custom CSS. All right. So first, our documentation at docs.knack.com is where you'll find some comprehensive guides and examples. And again, I mentioned in the builder, you can click this link here. This will open up the docs section where you will find all of the information on CSS. There's some additional guides too as well. So when you're looking at figuring out what your classes are, going to the developer tools, this will be really important section for you to review, especially if you're new to custom code. So again, our community forum is also another great place. In general, Knack's support team, we don't offer support for custom code. So you will need to either reach out to a developer, work with a developer, or if you are a developer, you can connect with other developers in our community forum and reach out with any custom questions there. So again, if you're going to forums.knack.com, you will find a section specifically for custom code. So under API and custom code, you can reach out to the community and ask your custom code questions there. So hopefully that is super helpful information to you. So here are some next steps if you want to try custom CSS. You will want to, one, identify the elements in your app you'd like to customize. Start small with things simple, like maybe your headings, or maybe your list views. Maybe you want your list views to look more like cards, but you'll use your browser developer tools to find the CSS class or ID, and then you'll test the CSS changes in the browser before you add it to your app. And then you can add custom CSS to your Knack app settings after you've kind of validated that it's going to work for what you need. So an important note again is, while we don't provide technical support for custom code, the Knack community is a fantastic resource for help. And like I mentioned at the top of the call, if you're savvy enough and feeling brave enough, you can jump into ChatGPT or Claude, and you can utilize those resources to additionally help you further add that custom code to your application. So just a quick heads up there, note there. So let's take a couple looks at some examples of CSS already added to our app. So we won't dive into identifying classes, because again, you do need to be comfortable with custom code or tech savvy enough that you're not afraid to dive into it, and then you can build out your code and then drop it into your Knack app to test things out. So let's take a look at some examples here. We saw our code that we've added here for our customer portal template. So you can see that I've got here my list view that I am looking at specifically. I'm wanting to make those look more like a card, as well as add a little bit of an animation on that, where I can see maybe a little change on the border there with my my list views here of my customers in my customer portal app. So let's take a look at that. We'll jump into that tab here. And so as you can see, I've got some card views here with my application. They're rounded. You can also see as I hover my cursor over there, there's a little bit of an animation there that shows that little bar there. So there's some one example of adding some custom CSS and how you can really change the look of your application. If you wanted to do something like removing these lines here within your code, I did an example here where I've kind of removed those lines, and I have a slightly different animation here as those kind of lift up off my page here for my cards. So when we take a look at that code here, again, going to my settings, API and code, CSS, We're doing like a hover with a gentle, deeper shadow here, but we're also removing our borders with a little snippet here as well. So again, a lot of this you can lean into ChatGPT or AI to help you come up with this code, along with our developer docs, which are public and able to be read by the AI. All right, so those are my couple of examples. I'm sure we could really go in a deep dive here with these, but we're going to keep this high level and simple for those of you who are just new to CSS, or maybe you are in Classic or you're trying out the next gen builder and you are wanting to have been waiting because with our Classic version, CSS has been available, but you've been waiting for it to become available in our next gen version. It is now available, and you can now come in and start to customize your app further. All right, so with that said, we're going to jump back in here. We took a look at some examples. I'm going to pause here. We're going to head into our Q&A. So hopefully you guys have been submitting some questions, or maybe you have some questions now that you've seen the demos. We are open for questions. Again, keep an eye out or take a look at the chat area or the Q&A. Drop your questions in there and we will do our best to respond. And if you're watching this video after the webinar, feel free to reach out to the team if you've got additional questions.